Dragon Ball Super manga chapter number 21 has now officially been revealed, and in this particular manga chapter, guys, we have some key differences in comparison to what's going on in this manga chapter and the events that have occurred in the anime show. So we start the manga chapter off exactly where we left off, with Goku and Vegeta having to go back into the past in order to create a better strategy to combat the likes of both Zamasu and Goku Black. And in this manga chapter, we get to see certain differences here. Now again, I want to point out that the translations were done by Herms 98 on Twitter and Gojira AF, and just by having to look at this manga chapter, you get to see how beautiful it is when you get to see Goku Black completely pummel Trunks into the ground, in which that's exactly what happens as we start the manga chapter off with Goku Black having to dig Trunks' face down into the dirt. And just by having to look at the overall details, Tori Otaro had done an amazing job in having to sketch out Goku Black, as you guys can see on your screen, with Goku Black nearly having to kill Trunks, of course, until he was saved by none other than Gowasu. Now this manga chapter also breaks down time travel, in which of course we get into that as soon as we progress in the manga chapter, but Black is about to kill Trunks according to Herms, but Gowasu appears via time ring and takes Trunks and Mai back into the past, which is very different than the anime, of course. But we even see as Black is pummeling Trunks into the ground, how Mai actually steps in and she seems to smack Black across his back with none other, of course, than her trusty shotgun. And it's pretty unique to see that because in the anime, it's something that we've never seen before. We've never seen Mai actually approach Goku Black while undergoing the Super Saiyan Rose form and smacking him across the back with a shotgun, but we get to see how he launches her deep into the wall, as then we get to see Trunks actually try to make an attempt to stop Goku Black, but to no avail, because Goku Black in this manga chapter completely beats down Trunks to the point where he's throwing him through buildings, and there's no sign of hope for Trunks as Goku and Vegeta left into the past. Which later brings us to Goku, Vegeta, and Bulma gathering around talking about what they can do, and Goku suggests that they spend the day inside of their own timeline and then immediately return right after. And Bulma says, and I quote by Herms, "It may be a time machine, but it's connected to a parallel world, not the future. That's because the initial settings are still in place. If we change the settings, we would no longer be able to go to the same future a second time, so we can't change the settings of the machine, which means that if a day passes here, a day will pass in the future too. What's more than that is the connection has grown pretty weak. Either way, the next trip will be the last. We won't be able to go back to Trunks' future again." So Goku suggests to wait the day so he can go back to Trunks' timeline immediately, but Bulma says that since the machine settings are at a certain pace, they can only use the time machine one more time, and if they do decide to go back into the future, it'll be their last trip there, which again is very different than the anime. But of course, then we get to see Goku suggest that they learn the Mafuba, but Vegeta does not want to rely on that because he wants to defeat Super Saiyan Rose Goku by himself, in which case Vegeta then goes on ahead to go inside of the hyperbolic time chamber while Goku attempts to master the Mafuba technique. Now, Goku learns the Mafuba technique without the aid of the sea turtle in the manga variation, which is different than the anime because we saw how in the anime Goku used the sea turtle, so it's a little different there. But what's interesting here is Black is about to kill future Trunks, and then as I said before, Gowasu appears via the time ring and takes Trunks and Mai back into the past, which is very different than the anime because we've never seen Trunks and Mai go back into the past ever since those events, because they only kept to the future until Goku and Vegeta arrived yet again, which of course led to fusion and other events. So we also get to see an interaction between Beerus and Whis and everyone else, because we get to see how Beerus refuses to go into the future because he says, and I quote, "I've destroyed Zamasu in the present, I'll leave the rest up to you." So they're sticking with the idea of Beerus not helping them, but of course the main reason, the main focus here is the time machine, because it looks like they can only go back into the future at least one more time because of the connection. The connection from the past into the future is weakening between the timelines, which is why Bulma suggested if you're gonna go, you can only go one more time. So we pan back to Gowasu having to make the save and taking future Trunks and Mai away, and we get to see how Goku Black is shocked out of his mind as he brings them to the homeworld of the Kais, in which the Supreme Kai is there and Gowasu is speaking to him as of course Trunks and Mai are resting, which of course ultimately means that Black and Zamasu are by themselves in the future with nobody having to stop them, since Goku and Vegeta had left and Gowasu had made the save for both Mai and Trunks. And we get to see how right then and there, which is most interesting, is how Black and Zamasu are speaking to each other, and we get to see how Zamasu is a little worried that the Omni King might discover what they're doing and get rid of them. And of course Zamasu is also trying to stay on on the low without having the Omni King find out about their plans. Which of course, if you go back and look at the anime, it was never once stated out of Zamasu's mouth of anything that had to do with the Omni King, and we get to see how they both suggest to destroy the remaining humans that preside on Earth, which of course kind of makes you wonder if they're gonna kill off the remaining humans on Earth, how in the world is Trunks ever going to manage to create the Spirit Sword? So we get to see how Gowasu actually shows up right then and there while Black and Zamasu are wreaking havoc all over the city, and oddly enough, we see how Zamasu begins to speak to him, and you know, even the Supreme Kai notices that Gowasu said that he's going to be back. He wants to go ahead and pay Black a visit, in which Trunks, Mai, and the Supreme Kai are baffled as to why Gowasu is even doing this to begin with, and then that's when we see Black stab Gowasu right through the chest without any hesitation, even as translated by Herms in saying, "Do you really think I would hesitate a third time?" So this is the third time that Goku Black had presumably enough stabbed Gowasu and pretty much tried to kill him off, as we see Black stab Gowasu right in front of Zamasu, and that never ever happened again in the anime either, because in the anime we saw how Gowasu was pretty much next to the Supreme Kai the entire time they were in the future, as they were watching Goku and Vegeta do all the work. But now we see how Gowasu attempted to go into the future to confront these people, but instead gets stabbed, as we go back to Goku learning the Mafuba technique with Master Roshi. And even while Goku is trying to learn the Mafuba technique, Roshi suggests that the Mafuba requires the user's stamina in order to pull the technique off, in which case Roshi even said that he wouldn't be able to seal Zamasu away because he just died, so it does require the aid of lots of stamina in order to pull the technique off. And Goku learns the Mafuba without the aid of the sea turtle, as I said before, but it is quite difficult for Goku to learn, as he is still struggling in order to put the beam blast inside the Mafuba jar. So having to go back and looking at the anime comparison to the manga in terms of what we're seeing now, there's not that much of a difference aside from the sea turtle being used, but Goku is still learning the Mafuba technique with the aid of Master Roshi, while Vegeta went off to go ahead and train. Still though, however, Goku is unaware of Gowasu having to go into the future to try to reason with Black. But the best part about the sequence is the way Vegeta closes off the chapter by emerging from the hyperbolic time chamber strong, but we also get to see the detail, how he's dirty, how he's pretty much destroyed, his armor shot, the entire time chamber was pretty much destroyed by Vegeta's intense training. So as he emerges from the hyperbolic time chamber, his exact quote is, "Just you wait, you bastard." And we close the chapter off with Goku also learning about the Mafuba, so it's pretty cool to see back to back how Vegeta emerges from the hyperbolic time chamber destroyed, sweaty, he's steaming in smoke, and we also get to see Goku finally utilize the Mafuba technique to his advantage, and now we get to see how both Saiyans, seemingly enough, are prepared and going back into the future to stop Black and Zamasu, as Goku looks to seal away Zamasu and Vegeta looks to kill Goku Black, and that's where the chapter pretty much closes off. So in conclusion, there are differences in the manga chapter and in the anime. It's pretty cool to know that Zamasu recognizes the Omni King, and he's very fearful of the Omni King even finding out about his actions, because as he said to Black, he is fearful of the Omni King finding out about them both, and of course he wants to entertain himself by killing Earthlings, so they kind of did it on the low, and it's kind of weird how they did not explain how the Omni King did not know about this, about how the other gods were dead, about how Black and Zamasu were pretty much jumping through time and doing all sorts of, you know, shenanigans, ruining people's lives and destroying planets and stuff. So it's very odd how they didn't really recognize the Omni King in being omnipresent, or at least being all knowledgeable to know about this. But of course Zamasu is worried about the entire time as he's talking to Black about the Omni King finding out about them both and destroying them. And also the idea of Black and Zamasu having to kill off the remaining Earthlings kind of makes you wonder if the whole Spirit Sword thing is even going to be happening. But post your comments down below. Do you guys prefer the manga or do you guys prefer the anime? I would have to say the anime is a bit more detailed, and of course you can only imagine how this would look like, especially if it was in the actual anime show. But of course Black killing Gowasu off for a third time and telling him, "This is the third time that I'm doing this, do you really believe that I would hesitate?" is pretty cool to see how once again he stabs Gowasu without any hesitation. But post your comments down below, guys. What are your overall thoughts on the idea that time travel can only happen if the connection is strong? What are your overall thoughts on Zamasu recognizing the Omni King? Thank you all for watching. If you guys love Dragon Ball, don't forget to go ahead and slap a like on this video. If you guys are Dragon Ball fans and you love Dragon Ball Ball content, don't forget to subscribe to this channel for all the latest Dragon Ball news, information, updates, reviews, and of course discussions. Tune back into the channel for more, and of course I cannot wait to see your responses, because again, I want to know if you guys favor the anime this time or the manga, because every single time I ask you guys this, your opinions differ. Some of you guys favor the manga, some of you guys favor the anime, and each and every single time a different chapter comes out, a lot of you guys tend to change your opinions. So post your comments down below, guys. Thank you all for watching, and I'll be seeing you all in the next Dragon Ball video. Take it easy, guys. Peace.